Today we are making the creamiest, easiest hummus, and it is made with a secret ingredient. It's butter beans. I'm Sam from Bites of Wellness. Come make hummus with me. What makes this hummus so creamy is that we are going to use butter beans. You might be thinking, what the heck is a butter bean? I don't know. I'm here to show you. So you'll see butter beans in two different ways in the store. You'll see them sometimes just labeled as butter beans. I usually only see them in this kind of square container at the grocery store, but where I normally see them, especially in the US, is they're called lima beans in the US. So they are the exact same thing. If you hear butter beans, they are talking about lima beans. So just so you know, we are making a butter bean hummus or a lima bean hummus. It's the same thing. Unlike chickpeas, butter beans get very smooth and creamy almost immediately when you put them in the food processor. So this is going to create a smoother texture, and it is so much easier to make. All we're going to do is rinse and drain your butter beans. We are going to add 2 tablespoons of tahini. Now tahini is, can't think and look at the same time. Tahini is a very traditional ingredient in hummus, so it's going to give that little bit of a nutty flavor, helps make it super creamy. If you don't have tahini on hand, you can just use olive oil for this. Next up, lemon juice. Lemon juice adds a lot of brightness to this recipe, and it gives it its own unique flavor. You want a nice and juicy lemon. If you find that your lemon doesn't seem like it's really juicy when you squeeze it, you can throw it in the microwave for about 7 to 10 seconds, and that will really help break up those internal capillaries and make your lemon juicier for you. So try to do that before you cut it in half if you can. All right. Next up, we are adding some spices. These are super easy spices. I know you have them in your pantry. We're just using salt, garlic powder, and cumin today. Cumin gives the hummus a slightly smoky flavor, and I personally prefer to use garlic powder over garlic because I find that garlic can often overpower the hummus, and then you can't really taste anything else. But if you love regular garlic, add 1 or 2 cloves in. Last ingredient is flat leaf parsley. So this really adds a fresh flavor to the hummus. If you don't have it on hand, you can simply skip it. You could also use something like oregano or maybe cilantro, but it will change the flavor a little bit. So now we're at the point where we just get to blend this up. It's so easy. All right. One thing you'll definitely want to do is pause your food processor when things start looking like they're getting nice and smooth, and scrape down the sides with some kind of spatula or other tool just to make sure that everything is getting well incorporated. So I want to show you a tip where if you're kind of like, okay, this is good, this is nice and creamy. If you look at this very closely, you can still see a little bit of the texture of the beans, and that means that you likely need just a touch of water. So at this point, I would add about a tablespoon of water based on what I'm seeing here. You can always add more. It's really hard if you add too much though. So start with about a tablespoon of water, not a ton. And we're going to spin this up one more time, and you'll just see how much the texture changes with that little bit of water. All right, so this is going to be the end product. You can see it's so much smoother, it's fluffier, and that was just about a tablespoon of water. You can always add more if you're not seeing this, but the water mixed with the tahini kind of helps emulsify this a little bit and makes it just a little bit creamier and a little bit richer. So at this point, you could pour this in a bowl and serve it at a party or a cookout with your favorite dips or ingredients, or you can set it in the fridge and use it all week long. Now that you see how easy it is to make hummus at home, you might be thinking, okay, that's great, but I really love roasted red pepper or pesto or some kind of fun flavor that's not really just plain hummus, but I've got you covered. In our article, we have so many variations on how to make this hummus a little bit different, from roasted red peppers to sun-dried tomatoes, Mediterranean, pretty much anything you can think of. I bet I have you covered. In case you're wondering, I am going to taste test this, even though I know it's wonderful. So you can use this hummus as a dip. It's probably the easiest way to use it, but you can also use it on sandwiches, wraps. You can use it in grain bowls. And my secret favorite way to use hummus is to make it into pasta sauce. So you simply add a little bit of the boiling water from the pasta right before you drain it to the hummus and pasta, mix it all together, and it creates this awesome pasta sauce. So I hope that you enjoy this hummus recipe. That is so light and airy. It's perfectly smooth. You don't have that gritty texture that you normally find with a chickpea hummus. I promise you, once you make this, you're gonna wanna make it over and over again. So if you love healthy recipes just like this one, make sure you hit that subscribe button and go find us on your other favorite social media platforms. Until then, have a good day. Hummus!